Let me give you a quick injury update here with our football team. Wesley Leftwich had a Jones fracture, just like Justin Britt did. Hopefully we'll get him back in a couple weeks. Henry Josie will not play this year. I think you all probably figured that out. But I'll tell you, in practice yesterday was kind of interesting. It was Sunday evening, and offense and defense were practicing on both ends of the field in the zoo. And all of a sudden, I see this guy in a red jersey with his shoulder pads on, and he's striding the full length of the field. I'm standing at the 50-yard line, and it was Henry, and he was running good, he was running hard. So, he's a remarkable kid, and I'm so impressed. I went over and gave him a big hug and high-fived him. He will be back one of these days, and so I just have to say that I admire him so much as he's battled through all this adversity that he has had. Travis Ruth has a torn tricep tendon that he had surgery. We'd like to get him some back, maybe get him back in November. It would be that late if we can at all, but he'll work hard to get that done. And Jack Miner has a strained knee, and he won't play this week. Hopefully we can get him back next week. Kip Edwards and Braylon Webb go from doubtful there to questionable. I think there's a possibility that they can play. We'll find that out as the next few days go. And Taylor Chappell obviously is out for the season, and Mark Hill was out for the season, both offensive linemen. Mark for career, for medical reasons, and Taylor because he tore his ACL. So let's update how we are. We did get some guys back, so we're kind of working through that. Players have great job preparation. This is obviously different now. When we're into game week preparation, we spend a lot of time on it. What are you going to do from Sunday night until Thursday, and those days right there in your preparation, video study, mastering the plan, scouting reports, all those things that you get. And then we get into Thursday, and we call it the final 48 hours, and that comes from when our practice is, when my team meeting is, until game time. And so we spend a lot of time on preparation with our players, and we actually give them techniques to use. And the better you prepare, the better you will play. And I like the maturity of our football team. I like the leadership of our team. And this is going to be our first test against Southeast Louisiana. And so they're a good football team. I'm sure we're going to get their best game, and I just want to play our best football game. And that's what we're going to work very, very hard to do. Tomorrow to kind of we're like in game week mode, even though we practice Saturday and pads are real good practice, and Sunday evening today is off for our players. Tomorrow we'll start with 7 o'clock meetings with our players, as we always do this time of year. Then they'll get up and go to class and do those kind of things, and then we got pads practice on Tuesday, shoulder pads practice on Wednesday. Thursday we're light, and we methodically play that out the entire season in consistency of our preparation. We have not changed that from the day we got here. We believe in how we prepare, and how you prepare in those days will determine how you play. And so that's our challenge as coaches and players to get those things done.
How big of a challenge is it when you look at your 5 starting offensive linemen, now they're only going to get about a week to practice together as a unit? Is that a pretty tough task?
Well, I think that certainly, we're starting, just as far as Evan Bain, for example, is going to start at left guard or straight out of high school. Now, he's certainly very capable. But those things happen. I don't know what to tell you. You sit there and you wonder, we lost really 3 players that I thought, if you take Travis, put him out for the season, hopefully we can get him back a couple of games. With him and Taylor and Mark Hill, those are 3 guys I thought would be in the top 10. And you throw Jack in there, that's 4 guys I thought would be in the top 10. And so you just adjust. And it's a cry for backup players to get ready to play. It's unusual. We've had back-to-back years kind of at that position. Our offensive line last year played at a pretty high level. And our challenge is just to make sure we coach well and continue to work hard. And players, a lot of times when you have adversity like that, or people rise to the top, the best rise to the top, and hopefully we get that done. Yeah, well, we're not sure how it's going to come out with Trey or Andrew. It's right now it's like a dead heat almost. We'll look at Tuesdays, we'll look at Wednesday's practice, and make a decision Thursday morning. We do it based on how they practice, and it's not real complex. Even I can do that. Go out and just mark if they're made or not made, and we move them around and give them opportunities to compete against one another, and we'll see where it goes. I think they're both competing hard. Obviously, we want consistency at that position. That's hugely important. In the past we've had that, and if you go a year without it, like we did a year ago, it creates a lot of issues in terms of winning and losing football games, and so hopefully we can rectify that.
Coach, what's the benefit of Doriel in that wide position, and is he at all sort of evolutionizing the way you guys have traditionally played that position?
No, not really. We moved Daenerys Alexander. We played in there quite a bit as a wide receiver. Starts for the Rams now, an All-American here. We have a position where you can play that as a wide receiver in there, and you can also play it as a tight end in there, and the things that you do differently. Basically, what we did is we've taught him an inside position. You have your H or your Y's, and outside position, an X. So he's learning both. He's moving in and out. He's a little bit bigger athlete, obviously, from a wide receiver standpoint, but he's certainly not a tight end. And we kind of work those together, and it'll work out fine. He's worked very hard, and he's we're going to see just let him go out there and do his thing in his preparation. Sean Calkin also is a player that he broke a finger in another freshman. So I'm going to give you all the freshmen that are playing. I think he had 6 screws put in his finger, and he's going to be very close to be ready to play this week. Will they let him play? Will they be wise to wait one more week? The medical staff will make that decision. Can he go out and block? Can he go out and do those kind of things? Yeah, he can do that, but can he catch? That's the other side of it. So we'll have to make a decision as far as that's concerned. And Russell Hansborough is a running back's 3rd team right now, and he will play as a freshman. So we have a group of guys in there that I think are really talented players, and they won some opportunities to help the football team this year.
Gary, Sean only had about 4 practices in camp, I guess, before he got hurt. I mean, what's it say about how well he was doing that, you've had some guys that you thought might play and then injury kind of set them back?
You talking about Sean? Yeah, Sean.
Hasn't, so.
Yeah, he was a player. Honestly, I don't know what practice it was. I'd have to go back. It was 9th, 10th practice. I'm not sure when it happened. Maybe more than that, 11th to 12th. But he was a guy you're sitting there watching. I had just written down in the back of my practice plan that I said, this guy can play this year. I just did it, and then the next time, then he went down, hit his hand, and we broke his finger. I mean, the next play when I wrote it down. So, he was showing those kind of things. And if anybody was out there watching our practices, he looked very natural. He did not look like a freshman from high school. And great work ethic, a good athlete, can run. We've had a rich tradition of tight ends here. So we're gonna see how it goes. But there's no question about it that we think he can play. Now that's something he's gonna have to feel confident about, and also the medical staff.
Hey, Coach, you just mentioned a couple of the options there as far as receivers. Having as many options as you do this year, how comfortable does that make you just to be able to spread around that many different people?
Well, we're looking for playmakers. We're looking for guys that first of all, we got to be able to play catch. And play catch means that the quarterback throws the ball and he throws accurate balls and receivers catch it. It sounds so elementary and so basic, but when you're inconsistent in those areas, you're breaking yourself down. The defense has nothing to do with it. You're missing throws, you're dropping footballs, or you're not making tough catches. So the ability to play catch, I think our 2007, 2008 team was probably the best playing catch teams I've ever been around. That's what they did. That's why the percentage of completions were so high in some of those years, and working all together in terms of that, and also some great catches. So you look at that; that's important. We are looking for guys that are difference makers. So as we will play probably quite a few receivers in this game, if anybody separates himself, then we're going to get the ball to him more. And the great thing about our offense is we can get the ball to who we want to get the ball to. When you have more weapons and they're impact players, the better it creates situations for everybody else on that field. And the bottom line is that you have to produce in order to be able to be in that situation.
Gary, just your thoughts on
Gary, what kind of expectations, not necessarily with the numbers they put up on the field, but with just how they kind of lead by example, if you will, for guys like Sheldon Richardson and Coney Healy, who are 2 of your most talented players on defense, but what do you want to see them kind of consistently show in terms of effort week in, week out?
Well, first of all, you want a great effort from everybody on the team. I think the most important thing you're looking for is you're looking for impact players. At that position, there are sacks, there are tackle for losses. They change football games. And defensive linemen that are impact players, they do that. They are at every level because they counter great quarterbacks. The great defensive linemen do. And these guys have really good potential. They work very, very hard. You know, Sheldon, for example, he's a lot different player than he was a year ago. And Coney also. Coney matured as being a young player. Sheldon, who came in here, you know, late in the, you know, missed all summer, and missed a good portion of two-a-days. And came in, just practiced a few weeks and played the game, and then had labrum surgery, and missed all of our Winning Edge program, and missed all of spring football. All the things that we do to help mold and discipline our players and create mental toughness and create unity and all those different things that we change, we mold players in our program that's planned in every one. He didn't have any of those things. So this year now, for the first time in June, he comes back, you know, and he's with Pat Ivey, strength and conditioning staff, and his teammates, and so he goes through the entire summer, which is great for him. Then he goes through entire two-a-days and everything else. So right now, he's a lot different player than he was a year ago. A lot different, and his potential is unlimited, and you know, hopefully he can have that kind of year and be an impact player for us, and Coney also to help our football team. Now you also got to look there. You got Brad Madison there, who's an all-conference player 2 years ago, and you know, Brad as we look at as a starter also, and also Michael Sam. So we got some guys in there that, you know, with some ability, and some guys that can, you know, change games and make a difference, and hopefully we can get that done.
I ask you about your expectations of Southeastern, Louisiana, and if this year you do any more than you would normally have to do to guard against your team looking to the second game with so much hype based on the Georgia game?
Well, I have to responsibly, as a head football coach, look at everything. So just to say that that's not a concern, it has to be a concern, or it's irresponsible on my behalf. You know, I think we all recognize the importance of, you know, the good football teams, the real good football teams, focus on playing their game, and they don't evaluate who they're playing. What they do is they evaluate techniques, tendencies, weaknesses, strengths. They do that on their opponents. But the real good football teams don't prepare differently because they're playing a team that is better or worse than another team. If you do that, you're not going to be very good. You're going to be very inconsistent, and guess what? You're going to have major problems as the season goes on. So, you know, that's my job to make sure that doesn't happen. And quite frankly, you know, if you know, we got to get better each and every week. And going into this season, we understand the people we're playing, and you know, we got to play well, and that's my job to get that done.
What can you tell us about SLU as far as the style of ball they're going to play and what type of players they have?
Well, I think they're good football players. You know, they you know, they're going to, you know, they like do a lot of different things in their kicking game. You know, there's a lot of different things in terms of that. They're multiple offensively. They can do a lot of different things. Defensively, we think they're going to run a 30 defense and allow them to move around, do a lot of different things. So, you know, again, this is more about what, you know, this is about Mizzou, and I don't care who we're playing. You know, this is about us playing our best game, and that's my job, to get our team to focus on us playing our best game, regardless of who we play.
Do you think the new kickoff rules were needed, and will they make the game safer?
Well, I think they'll make the same game safer. I think you'll see huge numbers of touchbacks. I believe. I could be wrong. You know, your philosophy on bringing the ball out, you know, you're too deep in the end zone, and you know it's going to go to 25 if you stay in there. You know, if you average 25 per return, you know, you're in the top 15 in the nation. So, you know, you got to really think long and hard whether you're going to bring the ball out. And I think it depends upon the player that you have back there. You know, with Jeremy Macklin, we'd probably put him back there and say, come out anytime we want, because of the potential of the big play. It'll also be interesting long term when the kickoff cover teams aren't as good because there's so many touchbacks. So now what would be the advantage then? Sometime to be able to take it 3 or 4 deep, knowing that the kickoff teams have not really game day wise had to cover. They've just run down and jog the last 20 yards. So there's a lot of dynamics there. We're going to see what happens. Anything they can do in the game for safety is good. Anything at all that they can do for safety is good. We got to be proactive on those things.
Gary, when you're kicking off, is there a temptation instead of kicking as far as you can just to pooch it or something, since you don't want to give up the 25-yard line?
Yeah, the 25-yard line, you know, it's kind of both ways you got to look at it. From our standpoint, you know, we're gonna kick it down deep, and if you kick it on the 25-yard line, you also remove big plays. So whether you get the ball on 22 or 23, it's not a big deal to go on the 25. So I mean, we're gonna try to kick the thing out every time we get a chance.
Your return guys with TJ handling kickoffs and Marcus punt returns. Well, I know TJ said that you know, you got 3 guys that can do punt returns. Are there other guys who might do that?
Well, we're kind of rolling some other guys. EJ Gaines is pretty good at that, you know. So those are kind of the guys. Those are the guys right now we're looking at, and you know, I think some other couple young players that we're looking at also. But any one of those 3 we can use. We might also rotate them through a little bit, kind of see where we're at and how that falls.
Gary, as well as Josie was playing last year, after he got hurt, the running game didn't seem to have much drop off at all. What does that say about your offense, and how much did it say about Lawrence Kendall's just his ability?
Well, Kendall's had a great summer. I mean, he looks as good as he's ever looked here. I think our offensive scheme presents itself, you know, some issues, you know, especially with the threat of James Franklin. Yeah, there's no question about that. I believe that we also have recruited, you know, a certain type of player to play running back for us, and they got to be able to run. They have to be explosive, and they have to be quick. And I think, you know, if you look at Murph, you know, he's the same way as Henry, and the same way as Kendall. They're all a little bit different, and so I think it's really a combination, you know, of scheme. And people are also going to work on our scheme too. You know, some of the things, you know, really worked well for us, and you know, defenses are smart, so they're going to see what they're going to have to do, and we're going to have to counter some things also ourselves. But you know, Kendall Lawrence has had as good a camp as we've had a running back here, and hopefully he can do some great things for us, and you know, be a difference maker. He's got great speed. All good. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.